There's a principle named after Dr. David Premack, a behavioral psychologist. This principle has been called Grandma's Law. If you've ever heard a grandmother tell her grandson, "You can have ice cream after you've finished eating your broccoli," you've heard the principle being applied in real time. You can apply this principle to your own behavior. That's what we'll check out today. Hey there, it's me, Core, and you're listening to Exercising Self-Control from Fitness to Flourishing. Mark Twain is quoted as saying, "If it's your job to eat a frog, it's best to do it first thing in the morning. And if it's your job to eat 2 frogs, it's best to eat the biggest one first." This also describes the Premack Principle, but let's get technical. The principle states a more likely behavior can be used to reinforce a less likely behavior. In the opening example, the broccoli is the less likely behavior. Most children are not fans of eating broccoli. But to get ice cream, even the most reluctant eater will probably be able to get through a few florets of the green nastiness. In the case of eating a different kind of green nastiness, Mark Twain is suggesting it's best to get this done first before moving on to almost assuredly more appealing tasks. Which brings us to one of the most effective ways to be more productive. Using the Premack Principle, you can prioritize a to-do list in such a way that each task reinforces the one before it. Here's how that works. First, write a list of all the things you need to get done. Second, order these tasks from what you most look forward to doing to what you may even dread doing. And then finally, when it's time to get to work on the list, start with the most dreaded task, working your way to the task you most look forward to doing. What happens as you work on the list in this way is the next task is more appealing than the one just done. It reinforces having gotten the less appealing task completed. You eat the frog, so to speak, and then you get to mow the lawn. Mowing the lawn on its own may have been unappealing, but after eating a frog, that'll probably feel like a treat. You can also use the Premack Principle as one-off reinforcement throughout your day. During a tough task, you might feel the need to get a bite to eat. You can make going for food contingent on getting a certain amount of that tough task done first. The food then reinforces working on the task just a little bit longer than you might otherwise have done. The interesting thing about this principle is when you apply it to your own behavior, it's not really reinforcement. What you are doing is self-monitoring. You're paying attention to your own behavior. And you must still choose to, in quotes, eat the frog, to implement the to-do list as you ordered it. At any time, you could simply choose to do an easier task. Even though it's not technically self-reinforcement, it's still reinforcing. What I mean is the natural consequences of making a more likely behavior contingent on doing a less likely behavior first still works to shape your behavior. You'll still enjoy getting to ice cream after finishing your broccoli. These are natural consequences and naturally reinforcing. This is one of the most effective methods I've ever used to shape my own behavior. I personally think of it as the soup principle. When I eat soup, I always start with just the broth. Then I move on to the best bits of the soup. Things like the barley, the vegetables, and the meat, for example. I highly recommend that you give the Premack Principle a go in your own life. That's it for today. Catch you next time.